This is Ben Keys, and you're listening to the Crowject podcast.
Unbelievable stuff into the middle. Oh, Rachele! He did a kick it on the outside of the boot with a one-touch soccer that looked like he should have been playing in the A-League Grand Final. And Keys has given it a goal. What a highlight!
Up the goal, 5 for the half. German.
Forward and here's German again. He's fighting for the free kick, but here's Nigel Smart. Smart can go through and kick a goal.
35 metres out right on the boundary line, and surely not. Oh no, he's done it! Has he done it?
All right, with a big thanks to Solo Designs, Nathaniel's Coffee and Panini, and our amazing patrons too. This is Peter for the Crowject podcast, with episode 298, where we have a whole bunch of things that we need to talk about. We've got all things about our huge win against Sydney, in Sydney as well, a whole bunch of points, feedback from the listeners too, all the news including the AFL women's fixture, Kane Corn's taking some leave, and a whole bunch of articles too, and a preview of our next game against the Brisbane Lions at Adelaide Oval. Now, a big thank you to our patrons again, patreon.com/Crowject. And also, if you want any Crom merch, go to project.bigcartel.com. Now, my name's Peter, but it's not just me on tonight. I've also got Lleyton. Hello, Lleyton.
Hello, how you going?
I am good, buddy. I'm good. Now, over your left shoulder, my friend, you have a DVD that's playing, don't you? Tell me more.
Yes, I've got the replay of the 98 semi-final against Sydney.
No spoilers, I'm not up to that.
Oh, sorry. You're rewatching every game.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Where we won, but it wasn't quite as convincing as tonight.
You ruined it for
Or
Ray
last week.
anyway. Ray, how are you?
Good. I'm good. How you going?
Yeah, good.
I'll save myself 96, 97, 98 seasons. Start fresh at the millennia, I think.
Oh, wow. Well, we started afresh, I think, on Saturday night with a commanding and comprehensive win against the Sydney Swans. Lleyton, what were the results there, my boy?
Well, the Crows won 21 goals 5, 131 to Sydney, 5 goals 11, 41 in a very accurate display.
And as a great philosopher once said, I think his name was Anthony Crom, good kicking is good football.
Yes, that's true. All right, we've got to applaud that one. That's great. Because, look, let's get into some key points about this game, because I don't have the crowd score, but it was a decent crowd until probably about half-time, where the people left over were cheering for literally every behind that Sydney were
well, you know, Sydney games, right? You know why they get such a big crowd? Is they've actually marketed Sydney, like, home games as dating events for the Sydney, like, single scene. They have, like, speed dating beforehand, and they have, like, it became like a hotspot for singles last year.
So it's a super spreader event.
Correct. It's a gonorrhea super spreader.
Nice. Super spreader title of the pod.
Well, there was
I think I've seen that movie.
35,229 people. So there must have been one person who missed out.
I was about to say.
Yeah, correct.
It's not.
Unless there was a new thruple on.
Yeah, true.
Good on them. And look, we did talk before, I think in our own chat about what a Swan really is as a double ender, but you connect the dots there. But look, let's just get this out of the way. We're in third place.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like, that was round 12, I think.
Yep.
Did either of you have this on your bingo cards for this year, that we would be in third into round 12?
Well, I know we needed a good start because we did have a very easier start to the season fixture-wise. But I didn't think we were going to be 8-4, first time since 2017.
Oh,
That
Obviously
ended well
was
that
a
year,
solid
I think.
year. Yeah.
I don't know if I had it on my bingo card. I thought we'd do well this year, but I think it's been more sort of like, it looked like we had the harder parts of our draw haven't been the hard parts of our draw yet, because the rest of the comps flip. Like, Sydney away should have been probably one of the hardest games we've had, with Collingwood away.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, we basically pants them. take their underwear away from them and run around the schoolyard go, we've got your underwear, we've got your underwear. And, you know, teams like Fremantle and Gold Coast, you probably didn't put them down as the hard games this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So the whole season's drunk.
Yeah, the whole season's tipsy, drunk, and a super spreader.
Correct.
In no particular order. Now, one of the points I've got written down here about this game, would you say that this was the most complete win of Matthew Nix's coaching career?
Yeah, I heard talks about this. Rory Sloane said it was. I think it's a fair shout in the most sort of complete performance. Earlier in the year, we were definitely having some great high-scoring wins, but we were letting, like, Essendon, for example, kick 100 points or we kick 150, whereas now we've balanced the defence and we're able to do both. And, yeah, there was a halftime score, like...
75-10, wasn't it?
75, yeah. Crazy first half. And we did have that third quarter where Sydney came back early on, and I just had that feeling of, okay, we're just going to let them get back into the game a bit, and it's going to be much closer than it should have been. But no, we just went on another roll, kicking the next.
I don't want to sound like a pessimist here, but a little bit. Can you say it's the most complete performance when really Sydney were just dog shit? All they did was just bomb it to Keane and Worrell and Marcolini, and they just picked them off for fun. Like Keane played out of his skin, but like no one was on him for 3/4 of the game, and when no one was on him, they kept kicking it to him. So
he just seemed like
he looked like prime Jeremy McGovern, just intercepting everything. But
what did he have? Like 8 or 9 intercept marks, which is crazy.
So I don't know how much you can read into us being the most well-rounded when they were just so dog shit.
And it was a weird match in itself because it was fairly wet on the ball, and that just invited pressure from both sides. So there was certainly a lot of hat kicks, but we'd certainly looked the most in control when we were able to get free. But it still was a weird game. It wasn't a high possession game, I think. Neil Bullen was our highest disposal count with 25, which you wouldn't have thought going into the game, you know.
Now, would you go so far, Ray, to say that Sydney were a rabble?
Oh, don't get me started on this. You apologise for that right now.
I wish you apologise to the club, the players, and most of all, my family who have been truly traumatised by me using the word rabble.
You know what the AFL stance on this is? You don't do anything wrong on the field or in the change rooms. You can text them later, or you can hit someone out in the street, but don't you dare say on the media that someone's a rabble. And did you guys hear the context around the comment?
It was like barely anything.
The guy said to him,
if
did you guys,
hear this,
did the
this
runner
is Miller on ABC Sport post game?
The question was around how they got the message out to them. Like, what did Matthew Nix pick up that showed that Sydney was all at sea? And he said, well, he didn't have to tell us anything. We could hear them on the ground. Like, they were arguing with themselves. They were a bit of a rabble.
That's it, you know.
Put context around that quote. If you're going to clip someone's quote, put context around them.
Oh, no, the media doesn't do that.
No, we don't do that.
But we have to apologise for that. He should have sent it in a threatening text message that night. Then it would have been fine.
Yeah.
See,
don't have to apologise for that.
There's been people that have sort of come out and said that Tim Silver's sort of rolled over about it. I personally, don't mind the fact that Silver's was just like, let's just not make this into anything bigger.
Yeah.
Right?
And knowing us as a club, our history, we haven't always done that. So
correct. We don't want things to fester.
Us doing that, even if it's something small.
Exactly. And I'm more than happy and I'm thinking more from a corporate executive point of view. Just nip it in the bud and it's done. And I'll give credit to the Swan CEO, Tom Harley, who said, no, we were a rabble. Look, hand on heart, I don't mind that from a professional courtesy point of view. But for people like Jack Rewalt, and I saw his reaction live.
So did I.
And he was just like, what did he say, Ray? It was something like,
it's disrespectful.
Yeah. I mean, coming from the guy that ruined an absolute
Mr. Brightside.
pub banger of a song for the rest of us for the next 20 years.
The thing is, like, I get Tim Silver's, hey, if you want to ring and just say to Tom Harley, hey, look, mate, this wasn't like, there was context around that, you know, this isn't what he was saying, that, you know, we apologise for it coming out like that. That's fine. Do that behind closed doors. But don't make Wayne Miller come out and apologise for it. Yeah, we're talking about Wayne Miller, who's probably third interview on radio in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, he hasn't been on much because of injuries and stuff.
It's not Josh Rachele saying that, you know, Port fans don't brush their teeth or anything like that. Like,
which is just a fact. But,
he's not a known shit talker.
It reminds me of when, in 2021, when Dave McKay broke someone's jaw, and there was all this talk around, you know, he must be a really bad bloke when it's the first bad thing he's done in his career.
Wasn't it? It was Kingy around that time who said that he won't just get 3 weeks, he may get more. I remember that vividly. And then I remember us on the pod when he Andrew, the legal eagle Coleshaw, got to David McKay, aka the golden ticket, from that one, and just thinking to myself, you know, it was a genuine accident. Like, it was shocking what happened to the poor guy, but it was a genuine accident, and you know, he just got on with it. So, I'm really annoyed at the media trying to not talk about how bad Sydney have fallen off the cliff, so to speak, but to talk about what has been a very off-the-cuff comment that is not racist, sexist, misogynistic, or anything else like that. It is genuinely a statement of fact. Sydney were not good.
You could see what he was talking about. He wasn't saying they were a rabble of a team or anything like that. They were a rabble because they were arguing with themselves. There was a passage of play where we kicked a goal, and James Rowbottom, who's the captain of Sydney at the moment, went up to their defenders and said something to them. It was a lot of pointing. And then as he went to walk off, you could see Nick Blakey go, how about you guys put a bit of pressure onto the ball coming out of it? And so they were arguing within themselves.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he meant by they were a rabble.
Yeah. And if we were in their position, I wouldn't care if opposition players said we played poorly. Like, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
And it's like Sydney, if it was the Gold Coast, it'd probably be a little bit more personal because the clubs had no success. Yeah. And, you know, that could be a little bit more pointed. But this is the first time I genuinely can remember Sydney being poor in probably the last 15 years.
I mean, on that, seeing Dean Cox and that dude was, we talk about the Dimaduki, the Cox crapper. Yeah, he was puffing up something fierce at that press conference. He looked like he was Mr. Incredible, about to be fired. And, you know, he just was about to rip the table apart and throw someone through like 7 walls. The dude was mad.
Do you want to hear a conspiracy theory that I have?
Oh, here we go. Ray conspiracy.
This was on purpose. This was Dean Cox's way of getting back. Because if you remember, he was the one that kicked inside forward 50 to Leo Barry, U-Star.
It's the 20th anniversary.
It's the 20 reunion.
For that
He's
night.
seen all week his kick get picked off by Leo Barry, U-Star. And he's like, you know what? Fuck you lot. Let's culture my dickhole.
Can I go one step further with that, Ray, just to enhance that even more? Yeah. Do you reckon Matthew Nix, because his last game that he played
for Sydney 2005
was
season.
round 11, 2005. So he then gets benched essentially, and he has to watch them, you know, Leo Davis and all that other crap. He went there with a purpose. He saw those fuckers there at halftime, and he went back to them and said, time to man up, boys. And he absolutely just drove them hard.
Correct.
No lube.
That's
So I completely agree.
They're intertwined there. Coxie was like, I need to get back at these guys. And Nixie's like, yeah, me too. I got something for you.
And it worked. Whatever happened worked because
it's all alleged, by the way.
We had
it's factual.
we had 14 goal scorers in this game. That's how evenly spread this performance
and we really
was.
only kicked 2 points.
Yeah, there was
the
a
rest
couple
were
rushed
rushed
behind. Literally 2 points. One from Jordan Dawson, which was a surprise, and one from Rachele, who also kicked 3 goals. And on Rachele, we got to talk about the highlight of the match probably.
Let's talk about that bulldog who got, as Ray said, absolutely glazed by the media.
Do you know what shits me about it though? If he had have miskicked that and it had gone behind him, they would have been like, "Oh, why didn't he just pick it up? Why didn't they just pick him up?" But instead, it comes off and they're on their knees. Yes, Josh.
It was a great through ball. Let's be honest. And I was the whole time I was thinking Keys is going to miss this because it's worked out too well.
Yeah. I was thinking that too. When that came off, I was just like, oh shit, it's been kept And no, he got it. He got it. I mean, look, I think there was the presser that happened earlier in the week with Rory Laird talking about how much Josh Rachele has improved because obviously last year Rachele was dropped for this said game.
Yeah.
And Rory Laird came out and made a few comments on SEN Media about that. But it was almost like it was like the meme of, wasn't it Smithers putting a gun behind, was it Mr. Burns or Homer? He's just like, that's it, smile and wave, that sort of thing, where Rory Laird's having to just absolutely just be cock-a-hoop about Rachele. And look, credit where credit's due. He had a phenomenal game, didn't he, Lleyton?
Yeah, he did. And I think it's because Laird wasn't in the side. He was able to be. He was free from the scrutiny on field.
Yeah.
So does this mean Laird's going to be rested for the rest of the season?
Yeah, that's what came. That was a selection though, wasn't it? Rested and
omitted was Taylor.
Yeah, Zach Taylor, rested. That's a fancy way of saying it.
It speaks of our depth though that we can rest. Rory Laird, who's been arguably probably one of our most consistent best players for the last 5 years, and still, not really miss a trick without him. I heard who was talking about it. I can't remember who was talking about it, but they were saying you've either got to play Smith or Laird at the moment, and which one do you choose? Because you probably can't have both of them in the same team. And I was like, it's a good selection dilemma to have. Both champions of our football club.
Yeah, definitely. And on Smith, he had a great game as well.
Yeah,
that goal in the first quarter, vintage.
I said to some friends of mine who we were chatting during the game, and I said, if you take that clip of that goal, that basically describes Brodie Smith's career for the Crows. Just like ball spills out, he's there and just bangs a big fatty from footy.
Fatty from footy. There we go. It's another title of the pod.
But I think also another thing that speaks to our depth is that Rankin and Dawson didn't shoot the lights out.
No,
they weren't outstanding.
Yeah,
and we still players like Peatling, Neil Bullen, Rachele. There was a handful of players that played phenomenally.
I really liked Peatling's game as well. Mm-hmm. I thought he was really good, just in and under, and when it was wet, he was the one that was controlling the ball. Mm-hmm. He's having a great season. I think he's going to be up there in our best and fairest. I think top 5.
Bloody oath. We need to go back to Rachele's acting.
Yes, the acting.
That is straight from the Lockie Murphy school of acting, that one. Just the getting himself, a little bit of peacocking, walking up, and then just fucking bang on his butt. And the umpire was just like, yeah, we're going to pay that one. You deserve that.
It was obviously a good enough act because the umpire was 2 meters away.
Exactly.
So he was pushed, but you don't want to see that.
Is Rachele a more skillful Hayden Ballantyne?
Oh, interesting shout.
Not as hated.
Yeah.
I think he's getting that way amongst opposition
rose-coloured
players.
classes. If this player was on an opposition side, I wouldn't like him.
Yeah, but this is what we need at this club. We need someone who's, just you inflate the ego, you get the bullwog going, get him absolutely just primed like 2 touches away, as Ray would say. And then just, he's just straight into someone else, like metaphorically, absolutely just going hammer and tongs metaphorically.
You guys haven't
That's
watched,
what we want.
You guys haven't watched Ted Lasso, have you?
Yeah.
You have. You seen the episode of Ted Lasso where they're like to Jamie Tart, like, you're a prick. We don't need you to be a prick all the time, but when we do need you to get into an opposition player's head and annoy the shit out of him because you're a prick.
Yeah.
And then they give him the signal, and that's what Josh Rachele is.
Yes.
That's what he's Jamie Tart.
He's playing a role.
Yeah.
We don't really have that much in the side. Like, there's good defenders that are competitive and go for a scuffle straight away, like Jossie Worrell and Hinge, but the rest of them are pretty straight to the line.
And when you got big Riley Thilthorpe just coming in to fight your battles for you.
It's good backup to have. He can do what he likes with Shelley.
Just a caveman just walking up. It's just I would be scared too. Breaking news.
Jamie Tart's a great comparison, by the way, of Josh Rachele. I just thought about
pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Very quickly, breaking news. Hinge has been nominated for Mark of the Year.
Yeah, he took his hanger
in the final quarter as well.
It was a nice mark, but it wasn't.
No,
Mark of the Year.
It was there.
Winner.
Yeah. It was there.
It was there.
Yeah.
Well, but it wasn't as average as that Rory Sloane mark where he was standing on the ground and still took it. But if you can beat that, it's something.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Now, one other point I got here is, did we notice the umps at all?
Early, I did.
Okay, just
no, I know what you mean. I feel like when everything's going our way,
nothing to complain about.
We lost the free kick count though.
Yeah,
and I was thinking to define the way that Sydney were as a rabble, they gave away a lot of 50s that were just undisciplined,
they
silly.
Did. And they straight to goals.
There was one where a guy ran straight through the mark, not even thinking.
That led to Dawson's goal, and Dawson was like, it's so obvious. You don't see that.
Do you want to know what though? Speaking of, did we notice the umpires? The free kick count in our game was 24-22 Sydney's way. So that's 46 free kicks for the game.
Yeah.
The earlier game, GWS versus Richmond, the free kick count was 4-15.
What, throughout the whole game?
Yeah, for the whole game.
That's crazy.
4-15 in Richmond's favour.
I do remember it came up with a stat. I was watching that GWS Richmond game, and there was a stat that came up in the fourth quarter, and it said, I think it was either GWS or Richmond had not gotten a free kick since the first quarter.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those I've never seen that stat before, just ever. You know what I mean? My conspiracy about this, if we're going to talk full conspiracy, we're going full Balkan state here. Real conspiracies, right?
Get your tinfoils.
Yeah. I think that since they did their executive leadership change, the umpires have said, all right, we can be good now. We're off strike.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I think that. Because I reckon this round for umpiring has been pretty good.
Well, it helps when there's less games. Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just looking over the games and I was thinking they weren't too badly umpired. Yeah.
No. But to have 20-something more free kicks, differential between a game, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll get to all of that in Segment Street with Around the Grounds because we've got to talk about that specific game there. But the other thing too, and this is a point that Sophie sent through to us as well, not relying on the three-headed monster, not the one, Ray, that you're thinking of, but in regards to Tex Filthy and the other one. And Fogarty. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. The fact that Vardy Magic put this out, and it was a stat that I had found, and then when he tweeted about it, I was just like, not bad. Where is it? It was about the fact that in the last 2 weeks, here it is. So at Vardy Magic said, so Adelaide Football Club have kicked 40 goals in the last 2 games with only 8 goals, as in 20% from Fog, who had 3 goals, Filthy, 4 goals, Tex, 1 goal, obviously only played 1 game too. Not being reliant on our 3-headed monster makes us an unpredictable, more difficult opponent, but being less Tex-centric is even more important for our future.
No, it's a great point. You wouldn't have think if you had that as a quiz, you would think at least 30-40% of the goals would be from our big tall forwards. But 14 goal kickers against Sydney is crazy to think. That's so accurate. Is great to see. The other player I want to highlight is Dan Curtin on the wing. He had 16 touches, which I think is his most for the career, and just looked sort of composed at the level. I feel like in previous games he's been a little bit panicky with his disposal. He's shown glimpses, but this time he sort of put it all together. Yeah,
I think getting him on the wing, he's so big and he seems like he's got a pretty good engine. And just as a bailout kick down the line against a winger, he's going to monster them every time. The amount of times he took a contested mark over the top of their winger and it was like, okay, we're out of trouble now, we can reset. That's massive.
And I think the wing role suits him because it just gives him a role, be like, okay, you're going to be on the wing most of the time, because that sort of half forward role is hard to find the footy at all when you're already dealing with 3 other tools in the same forward line. So if you're telling him, okay, you're on the wing most of the time, I think it's going to work for us.
Yeah, agreed. Curtin.
Any other standouts, Peter?
Yeah. Oh, look, I think I need to give a shout out to Isaac Cumming because we're at 69 points and Cumming kicked a goal. And that's the way Ray wants all points like that to finish, isn't that
Dinner
right?
for 2 with a shit house view.
That's it, mate. That's it. Now, I'm going to get to some feedback from the listeners, and we did get a voicemail as well, as I'm slowly uploading it as we speak. But if at any point during a game or even right now, if you want to just call and abuse us, you can call us on 82465498. For our interstate listeners, 0882465498. I'm in the throes of currently setting up a mobile number that we can send and receive SMSs even during the game, because screw it. Why not? So how will that go? Who the hell knows? But here is our voicemail from the game. I have not listened to this. I don't know how it's going to go. But
here we go.
Beep, beep, beep.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Driving home from the game, Crowject does not condone the use of mobile devices while driving. But how f***ing good was that? Oh my god. Oh, go to Crom. Crom flag. I need to see a doctor. I've had an erection lasting more than 4 hours. I'm losing blood in my head. But it was so worth it. Oh, Crom flag 2025. I love you all. I have a reason to live now.
So, Ray, did you really go to the game?
I've never had an erection last that long.
That was brilliant. That was amazing. I need to see if this person's called up before. Let me just search their number.
The voice didn't sound familiar, but
no.
What would I know?
No, they have called up before. Yeah, a few messages last year as well. Oh, my goodness. That was phenomenal.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good. They were at full mast, as I would say, in the industry. Now,
what industry?
I'm going to shut up now.
Sailing?
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Sydney to Hobart operators if you enjoy that. Now, over on Instagram, we asked for feedback about the game real quick, and over on Instagram stories, we had Ella Pierce with 5 L's. Most amazing game of football I've ever seen played. Okay. Isabella Kazis says, Daniel Hoskins shouldn't save them this time. I couldn't save them this time. Okay, unfortunately, look, that poor goal umpire, Daniel, great guy, know the rules, and to be honest, thoughts go out to him. Please don't abuse him.
Don't remind me of that game. You're like, come on, we just won against Sydney for the first time.
Look, at least Keys was able to kick the goal. You know,
yeah.
You know what they say? You build a million bridges, you never get called a bridge builder, but you fuck one goat and go fuck it the rest of your life.
I couldn't put it better myself, right?
Neither could I. Was a Graham thinking how we did. The lapse in the third quarter was a concern, as we said, especially.
We let him kick 4 goals. What are we going to do?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is that caller just then, but Jazzbaz80 says, yes. Oh, my God. PDC 2211 says, another one. I assume what's the name of that rapper that did that?
DJ Khaled.
Yeah, that's it.
Father Assad.
Cameron Sharonberg, friend of the pod and Patreon, says, we are so fucking back. Luke Davis, surely Smith stays in next week.
Interesting.
What do we think?
It'd be hard to drop him.
Yeah. I know, that's the thing. I look at this group and I'm like, who are you going to drop?
Yeah, I think we're at that point where we do have some players on the half-back line that we want to see play.
I know. I'm genuinely shocked that Hugh Bond's not playing. I thought he was outstanding last year.
He was.
Looked like a young, virile Luke Brown.
Virile Luke Brown. I mean, look, that's been the talk even this week about, Charlie Edwards not coming in.
Yeah.
Look, you can't drop people if they're all performing.
Yeah. And it's a weird position we're in now that we haven't been used to for a while. We're contending for finals and potentially top 4. Like, what position are we in to try players? We'll probably have to wait for the right games. You know what I mean? Like, against Brisbane's not going to be the time to take a chance, you know. When are we playing St Kilda? Like,
look, I'll give an example here, though. Think about when Mark Keane came into the team for that showdown in 23 or 24. I can't remember which year it was.
23.
His first 2 kicks were absolute stinkers, but we're able to have the supportive network around him of a pretty competitive side to not just cover his own cracks with his playing, but also he was able to thrive in that environment.
Yeah.
Like, I personally don't have any concerns with, 1, how we're performing right now, but 2, the fact that we're not actively selecting the kids because we don't need to. And if we do, if there's injuries or anything else like that, I feel like they're going to slide into the side perfectly because we've got an SANFL side that's competitive. And
it's very strong at the moment.
I'm not concerned. Like, you got people that are cock-a-hoop about selections every week. Like, with respect, I know some of our patrons, talk about that and everything, but I'm not too worried given how well we're performing. We're in fucking third place for a reason. Like, anyway.
Yeah, 100%. We have got games against Richmond, West Coast, North Melbourne in the back half of the year that we could debut some of these players we haven't tried yet. But yeah, just not in the big games yet when we're playing this well. Don't want to mess with the formula.
Agreed.
Don't want to mess up that juju.
Don't want to mess up the juju, girl. J-Newell09 says, Flag Crom 25, ya, han, wah, 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 ha, ha, ha. L Luke 1 says, we win the flag against Geelong and their triple salary cap.
Oh,
spicy.
That would be big.
Spicy. That's a spicy one. Alex Dry, Sydney stink. How were they in a grand final 8 months ago? Needs to be studied. I love Crom.
Didn't we do this in 2018?
Yeah. Oh, no, we actually started 2018 weirdly well. But then just fell off the cliff.
We just had, the camp and, all the other stuff. Fun times. Rachel Parsons says, holy fucking shit, with 3 mind-blown emojis. Kirsten KWX says, had me, Isaac Cumming.
Oh,
Kirsten. Sam Bertlam says, welcome to the Sydney Crows ground. Ha, get it because it's S.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anyway.
I like it.
Now that's it for.
I thought they meant like we beat them so bad they have to give us their oval.
Give it.
It's now our embassy.
It's just Nixie and Dean Cox both digging it up and saying like, "Fuck you guys."
Mm-hmm.
Now Jazzbass 80 said, great point. Berry is so ridiculously slept on. Not literally, but like as in thought.
You didn't need to put that out there.
Well, that's
That's
what he said. Big call, but top 10 players in the league in the next couple of years.
Oh, I don't know about that, but he was
a big call.
Really good contested, and he was bursting out of stoppages, which when I don't know if I can see Matt Crouch doing that and Berry sort of doing that role and then some. It's really good
8
to see.
inside 50s. 8.
Yeah.
He is Tom Lynch, just able to warm up. So that's good.
Well, you go back to like he put it when he first burst onto the scene. It was like he was a tackling machine. He was a contested ball machine, and then he went away from that, and he wasn't tackling as much.
We found out he would get the ball first, and he was confused. He didn't know what to do next. Like, so, what do I go for? Do I go for the tackle? Do I go for the ball? That screwed him up for a whole year.
He went away from that, and then he was back in the twos.
Yeah,
and couldn't get a spot back in the team, but he's gone back to that this year, and he's thriving again. Stick to what you know. As the great and powerful Sharpay Evans from High School Musical said, stick to the status quo. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I was expecting a Camp Rock reference tonight for some reason. I wasn't expecting a High School Musical, my friend. My God. Real quick, Matt Parbs, friend of the pod, said, straight out of the blocks, unreal goal kicking and just ruthless. Good Crom. Josh Holland, statement made, we were dreamers in 2017. I believe in miracles, and 2025 we believe. Come on, Crowies. Now, that sticker, I believe in miracles, about the 1999 season.
Oh, it's a good sticker.
It's a good sticker. Didn't really work out, but it was there.
But the sticker might have been talking about that year. You know, it could have been miracles of any sort from any era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, talking about hot chocolate with their song, I Believe in Miracles, you sexy thing. Oh, yes. Dale Neal, best team performance for this year. Bloody brilliant to watch. Bring on Friday night against the reigning premiers, #Go Crom. Couldn't agree more. Wow. Sean Bryonan, it's an Irish last name. I think we're going to go with just Sean. Swans joint worst loss to the Crom, including the South Melbourne era.
Well, we wouldn't have played South Melbourne, but yeah.
I was. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, it's the equal biggest win against the Swans, and I'm just going to find out when that first.
It was at 95,
was 90 points,
95 or 96, I reckon.
We pants.
If we hadn't have kicked so inaccurately, we could have beaten that record.
It was 100. Weirdly enough, it was round one. Yeah, it was not round one, 1996, but it was at home. And it was 130 to 40. So it was very similar scoreline.
Instead of 131 to 140 into 41.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Right, and last thing, we got Alex on Twitter who says, that was a fever dream. The way we won every contest and tackles just bounced off. I'm sure someone spiked my drink and I'm going to wake up minus a kidney. Well, if you've woken up in Istanbul, Alex, let us know. Give us a call as well, 0011 61 88 246 5498. Wow, that's amazing. Look, We need to pick our top three. Let's give out 3 votes, 2 votes, and 1 vote.
This is actually going to be very tough.
Okay, let's go with the one vote. Who are we giving it to?
I'm going to give it to Rachele.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I'm going to go Mark Keane for all the marks.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Keane as well. And 2 votes.
I'm going to go with Alex Neil Bullen.
Yeah.
Yes, Nab.
Amber.
Yeah.
That's a stretch.
Lleyton.
Yeah, I'm going Nibbler for 2 votes.
Look, I'm giving it to Berry.
Yeah, okay. I like it.
I think he was phenomenal. And the 3 votes, here we go. Ramondi.
I'm giving it to Peatling.
Shadow Daddy himself, yes.
I think that's a good shout, but I'm going to go Ben Keys. I think he was just hard running, pressure. It was a perfect game for him. And kicked 3 goals.
Yeah. Look, I'm just looking through the list now. I'm going to...
It's hard to say. You could say a dozen players, you know.
Gee, if I could pick one, I'd pick them all. I'm going to go with Daddy Dawson. Why not? Because
why not?
Does he need more accolades? Why not? Cool. All right. Now, how about we get to some news, guys? And if we put that game in the rearview mirror, we can finally talk about what the AFL like to neglect, as in the AFL women's fixture and just generally.
I thought you were going to say accountability.
That too, but it's being accountable for the fairer sex and their amazing game that they play. But they finally released the AFLW fixture for 2025 at the perfect time as well, after State of Origin, after selections and everything, just to be like, oh, that's right, send. I know, I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the AFL women's pundits on Fox, on one of the shows, did say that the fixture was going to be released on Thursday, and for some reason they just did not do that. But I'm just glad that they finally did. And if we look at some of the games that are going to be happening, we open up the season against St Kilda in Melbourne at RACA Park, and we play a total of 4 games at Norwood Oval. As certain people like to say, the best ground in the SANFL. I disagree completely. And 2 games at Unley Oval, a better ground, because it's not as crap as Norwood Oval.
Yeah, but it's all under construction there.
Well, at least
we have a great record there, so
they're trying to improve it. They're trying to do something. Unlike Norwood Oval, anyway.
They can't even call Norwood an oval because it's got a flat bit along one side along the wall.
Yeah, you look at it from the top, it does look like flubber, the Nord flubber, like it's just just been pancaked. Anyway, okay, so we play North Melbourne, the defending premiers, in round 10 as well, and the last game of the year is going to be around Halloween weekend against Freo at Nord Oval. I'm going to try to be as polite as I can, but I'm really pissed off at the way the AFL are running the AFL women's just generally. I think they're just having it as an afterthought. Look, Ray, I'll defer to you here a little bit, because the way the NRL runs the NRL women's with their State of Origin and everything else like that,
I don't think that's perfect.
It's not perfect, but I feel like it
makes both the big events big still. It's putting on the same.
Yeah, it does.
Stage,
but the thing that they don't do well with that in the NRLW, because I do get quite into that, is that this isn't their season. They're only just starting pre-season.
So they're playing out of season. Okay.
Yeah, so they're playing before they've even started pre-season. So it gives I don't want to say a bad spectacle because they're getting better, but if you told a bunch of AFL players to go play a exhibition game before they'd started pre-season, the skills would probably be a little bit sloppy. And so they don't do that perfectly. But again, it's like they're putting thought and effort into growing the women's game. Like they put the girls' game in Vegas this year when they went there. They played Australia versus New Zealand. I mean, it was 96-4 and probably destroyed everything that England was trying to build with their women's setup. But they put it on there.
Yeah.
And they give it a platform. But the AFL,
it's the time of year we're starting it. The round 1 is in round 23 of the AFL. It's such a weird start. Season launch, there's going to be so much footy on those weekends. It's not really giving it fresh air.
I do look at sort of the August 30th, September 7, we play GWS in Sydney, but then we play Brisbane here at Norwood Oval, which I think is going to be a cracking match, as it always will be.
Yep.
But looking at the whole fixture as a whole, like they're trying to force, and this sort of plays into what Ray was saying before, they're looking to force the men's rivalries into the women's side. Like opening up, I think it's Carlton and Collingwood, because I'm looking at the
which they've been doing for every
Well, that's been the first game every year.
But it's not trying something new for what the AFLW is.
Correct, exactly. And, if you had it as, say, like
Why
Brisbane versus North Melbourne, or like us versus...
Grand final rematch, first game to start it off.
Oh my God, no, Ray, no, too much. No.
We say the same thing every year.
Yeah.
And it's like at some point it's just going to get stale of like, you'll have that friend that like you invite them out somewhere and they cancel last minute every time. So eventually you stop inviting them. Like you can only complain about them giving it no space for so long before you just go, whatever. Like there's no point anymore.
Yeah.
They got to do something. And they've got to give it something. But again, where do you put it? Do you put it at the start of the season?
I still like the start of the season. I think we're starved for footy, and that's when the most interest was in it,
I kind of agree, because
on.
if you started at the start of the season, everyone is tonguing for football at the start of the season, so you get more in. Also, you end up playing the final series around now, which is when everyone's having buys.
Yeah. When there's not much going on, rather than putting round one, what's meant to kick off the launch of the season, when there's already two full rounds of footy going on leading into the final.
If the season started at the same time, you'd have the AFLW finals in the bye weeks. You could even make AFL grand final. Every men's team has a bye on the same weekend instead of playing 6 teams have a bye each week. And then everyone gets a week off, everyone resets, then you can go again for the strong half of the second season, and then that's focused on the men.
And I mean, look, if you compare it to the SANFL Women's League, their grand final shaping up to be on 26th of July.
Yep.
Right? That's better than what the AFL are doing now, where it's going to finish, and I can guarantee you, I know what's going to happen. There's going to be this debate of, we need to have it at a bigger ground. Oh, there's no ovals available.
Yeah, the Ashes are on this.
Yeah, they've cut them. They've done
you can't compete with the Ashes.
They haven't given it room to grow. We said it when they first moved it a few years ago. Like once they moved it to this slot, they're not.
And you can't play it January, February because it's the hottest part of the day.
Yeah, and I think there was talk about one of the games, I think it's Gold Coast versus West Coast or something, that's being starting at like 9 p.m. because it's in WA.
Oh, that's just time zones. Just get over it.
It's time zones,
Get over it, East Coast.
Yeah, build a bridge, Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah.
But like in terms of that, the heat thing, like the grand final and all the final series are going to be the whole month of November,
Yeah.
It's not going to be cold.
No. Global warming. I heard the election. It's a thing.
I'm glad you're paying attention.
Although I do remember in 2022, there was that game that the Crows played, and it was my birthday here, but I was in the US, and that was that torrential downpour that happened with all the flooding, because it was a pageant day as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Unley Oval was a bath, literally. Not an actual bath, but anyway. Look, at AFL
But nevertheless, the fixture's out. We are excited for the season. It's Doc's last season as coach. We've definitely got a great list that's only improved with a few more recruits. So
yeah. And can I give a shout out to the Newman sisters doing a phenomenal video, and the season launch too. Kira Muller doing great work in there too. The Doc has updated his hat. It's the new logo too.
Oh, no, rip the old faded purple colour looking.
Varlo. And Saligo with his great cameo as well, which I'm sure
Maximum Coffee
or something. Yeah, that was great. And Phil Harbour too doing well. I think his daughter Eden was in our comments saying it was a one-take wonder with that door slam. Oh, it was beautiful. Now, next point I've got written down here, Kane Corns has taken some leave. And look, the story arc that I've noticed over the last couple of weeks is, did you see after that game on Thursday night where Brisbane, or Thursday or Friday night where Brisbane got up and they're trying to make Kane become the good guy sort of thing with Fagan and him?
Yeah. I'm just over this whole narrative. Like,
stop.
The narrative is Channel 7 spent a lot of money to get him across, and now they're trying to clean up his image so that they don't have to break his contract early.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
True.
But, wanker's going to wank.
I've heard this movie that it might be good for you to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Short bus or something?
Yeah, your short bus, get around it. So they've replaced him with Sam Edmund, who's taking over hosting duties for Corns on SEN. But the fact that he's been blacklisted, tried to, him and Luke Beveridge walking past each other. Do you remember when Tony Abbott said he was going to shirt front Vladimir Putin? That's what it reminded me of. It was like sort of just a drive by and Tony Abbott's just like, fuck you, Putin. And Putin's like, what did he say? He's like, get rid of that guy.
Yeah.
Like the Beveridge effect is happening again. Like, oh man.
Yeah.
I'm
just not made a lot of friends on mainstream media this year, has it?
I mean, he had an opportunity, fresh start, Channel 7. Be a nice guy.
It was all downhill when Luke Hodge said, just shut up and listen to me for a minute, mate.
Yes, that's a great point, Ray. That's a great point. Now, the other thing as well, if you're a subscriber, I would highly recommend you search Dan Bredding's article that he's done about the Adelaide Crows. He's a fan of the pod as well, and he was on our 2019 draft night special, and hopefully we're going to have him on again soon for the Phil Walsh series that I'm currently working on. But he did a great write-up talking about how the Crows and Newell Balm came together because of Thomas Foods and the billionaire backer there.
Yes, I think
a great read.
It's a good article.
Yeah. So highly recommend you guys to get around that one. Now, any other news that we need to go through, gentlemen?
I guess we're just going to get into the preview for the next game, the blockbuster.
And I'll just give a quick shout out to Rainbow Crows, who we sponsor and help out with all of our Go Crom merch, and all the revenue from that we donate to a bunch of charities. But Rainbow Crows, they're doing their quiz night. That's coming up soon. I heard that the host, he's a sprightly gentleman who will do his best not to fuck up some of the questions. But get along to that one too. So search Rainbow Crows Quiz Night. That'll be happening in about 3 weeks' time too. Now, let's get to the next game this Friday night at Adelaide Oval. Ray against the Brisbane Lions, a.k.a. Sophie's second team. I know.
Ray against the Brisbane Lions. Okay.
That would be a terrible selection call.
Yeah.
I just have to claw at the canasters, I reckon. Just fright and scrap my way out there. If they're female Lions, I'm dead.
Yeah, Nala always had a bit in her, I reckon, in The Lion King. Yeah,
Nala, I just worked out the other day because we were watching it with the kids, is the mum from One Tree Hill, a show that I love. It's like, oh. Anyway, it's getting late.
That's a good preview for the game. I mean,
oh my God.
What does this mean for the game? I don't know. But
yeah, what's your favourite line? Yeah, actually, you know what? Line. I'm going to put that up on Instagram right now.
Jared Lyons, definitely. He's having a great season for Glenelg at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, third versus second. Friday night. We haven't had a blockbuster game for a little while. The main one I can think of is the
how much of a scam is this, right? So as of Wednesday, I'm on annual leave for the rest of the week, extra long weekend.
Love it.
But on Friday, I forgot that I'm taking people to the footy for work, so I've got to.
Oh no!
On my annual leave, take schmooze some clients.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
Oh
well.
So you're going to be paying more attention to the game or no attention to the game because you got client?
Yeah, depends. Depends how good the buffet is.
What are we wearing, Ray? Chestnut RMs? Is that what we're going for?
Don't know. See what fits me.
see what fits.
Sorry, I'm just saying. What's your favourite lion? Done.
But yeah, it should be a good game.
Brisbane's coming off an unconvincing win against Essendon, but they have had a couple of days extra because they played on Thursday night.
But if any team can play a team into form, it's us.
Oh, yeah. We have great history of that. I just say we play like we played this year and not, It's going to be interesting. Brisbane have just been doing the job, getting over the line. They haven't been bullying teams like we've been doing. So
they had a fair scare against the Bomb.
Yeah.
Like they were. I'm actually surprised that Brisbane
especially
came
at
back.
the Gabba.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting for me how Harris Andrews goes against us now that we've got 3 genuine tall threats. Like, who does he go to? How much, if he goes to Thilthorpe, can he pay him enough disrespect to drop off onto Fogg all the time? Because Thilthorpe's a beast in the air, so you're not going to be able to just drop off. You're going to have to pay pretty close attention to him.
I just want to see the absolute lip that Eric Hipwood is going to be copying from Max Michelini. That dude, Max is so chirpy, and that's something I've noticed about him. I reckon he is going to research Hipwood something fierce. You know what?
I don't know if he's
Wall
like
of Promises.
that.
Hang on. Wall of Promises. Here we go. Wall of Promises. Eric Hipwood, 0 goals for.
Oh, 0 goals for.
2/3 of a dodo.
I don't think he even kicks that many.
He doesn't get that many kicks, or he doesn't have that many chances.
Like that many score involvements.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now, put that up for my significant other to take down later in the week. Okay. Okay. I've looked at the weather. It's going to be pretty wet.
Yes. Which probably suits Brisbane,
minutes.
to be honest. We're not. I know we played in the sort of dewy game in Sydney, but we haven't played in many other games like that this year.
That's true.
So I think that's advantage them, but obviously it's our home ground.
Oh, is that your book behind Nixie, Lleyton?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was so distracted.
Random
side quest.
Look, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I think the intel, and I put this in the Patreon's chat as well, patreon.com/Crowject if you want to get on that. But I put in there about Murray Davis is going to have the intel, and I think he's going to be. It's going to be like James Riley going to Geelong. He's our kryptonite.
Yeah,
he just knows the leading patterns because it's Fogg and Tex, and they're just like good ball. Like, and Riley's just like, maybe we should defend that properly. I think that it's going to be a great game. If it's going to be raining, maybe we try to come out early and try to ice it. But I think the last time we played them at Adelaide Oval, it was draw. Yeah, I was about to say.
Can it happen again? Back-to-back draws. They've already drew again lines. Like, why can't
they only draw on Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah, the Mother's Day.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
It's going to be tough. I mean, I'll take a win. If we can't draw with them, we'll win.
Oh, that's great. Now, Ray, I want a prediction. Who wins and how much? And let's go with leading contested possessions.
Oh, I think we win by 15 points. Leading contested is me getting through the chairs at the buffet for a second helping and dessert. No, I think...
bread and butter pudding.
Samberry. Oh, there's no bread and butter pudding at that buffet.
Sorry.
Oh, that buffet is chef's kiss.
No, you have to do the fancy wording for bread and butter. It'll be like a pan au lat frosh with coulis. It's just
it's like mousse tarts and stuff like that.
Mousse tarts.
Mousse tarts.
Sounds pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I mean,
and if it's raining, I reckon I can convince people to just keep sitting on the window and we don't go outside.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like me and Lleyton when we went to that the infamous Sydney game end of the year, and we went to it was the members round, so we got to go to the chairman's dinner, and seeing all the corporates walking out with their jackets in the liners full of Pacific Ale, like just cans upon cans, and they're just dripping everywhere, and you're just like, yeah, good on you. Now, Lleyton, who wins how much and leading contested possessions?
I do want to tip the draw, but I think we're in good enough form to get over the line. Crows by, I like the 15 points, but I'll go 24 points and we kick away late in a tight game. Most contested possessions, I reckon Jake Saligo is going to be, it's going to be the game for him in the wet.
Nice. I got a message from Justin Chicky Cummings, friend of the pod and Patreon, who said that he was cock-a-hoop about this, and I was quite drunk in my reply to him. I wanted to listen back to the voicemail I sent to him, but I'm pretty sure I predicted Crows by 60.
60?
Yeah. Now, that was a while back. It was a different Peter. In fact, it's definitely the same one. It's my second glass for tonight. But I'm going to say the Crows are going to win by 29. Okay?
Solid.
And leading contested possessions, I do like Berry, I do like Saligo, but I'm going to say, as weird as this sounds, Rankin.
Yeah. I was going to say Peatling, but
I like Rankin's shout. He's been weirdly good for contested possessions this year. Like, you wouldn't think it. And that, we didn't even talk about that amazing assist he had on the weekend with Sydney, where he shrugged two players' tackles and gave the hand pass to Neil Bullen and kicked a goal.
Yeah, see, he does so much good stuff that even that good stuff's like undershadowed by his other good stuff.
Like, he played well on the weekend, but he wasn't a standout. But even those sorts of games are really impressive. You know, if it wasn't him doing it, you'd be like, wow.
Wow.
But because he does all the time, you know, we just get used to it. We're spoiled.
He is phenomenal. My God. Now, we'll do our predictions for the game as well on our socials too, and also we'll have walk and talk after the game, unless it's absolutely pissing down with rain. We won't do it. But walk and talk will be happening after the game, win, lose, or draw, as Lleyton will be hoping for. But anything else that we need to get to, guys, real quick before we wrap it up?
I need to get to
7th
bed.
Street.
Enjoy the long weekend, everyone. Get to the footy, rug up, pack it
Get
out.
to the foosball. Yeah, pack it out, flop it out, get it done, get to the buffet, and a big thank you to our patrons, patreon.com/Crowject, and also crowject.bigcartel.com to get all your Go Crom merch. We have restocked with Go Crom Cordies. Woohoo! Okay.
Love it.
And also a big, big thank you to Solely Designs and Nathaniel's Coffee and Panini too for everything they do. Ray, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
No, thank you.
And thank you, Lleyton.
Thank you.
And my name's Peter. Go Crom.
Go Crom.